So there are two relationships that I'm curious to see develop, okay? So the first one is Lady Marjorie and Joffrey. What's going to happen with that? And also Tyrion and his father, because there's some like serious disappointment there.
That was my favorite scene.
Was it really?
My favorite, as my son would say. Okay, no, I'll tell you why. Because sometimes there's a clarifying moment in life and in a show, in a movie, etc. That was a clarifying moment. Sometimes somebody has some goodness in them that you didn't recognize, and you're like, oh, you know what? He's a complicated character. No, this was the opposite, where it was clear. No, this is a bad guy.
Totally.
You know, the head of the Lannisters is an incredibly bad. He's never gonna like his son, and his son has no chance. But it was also a moment where he screws up. He doesn't realize he screws up because his son is so much smarter than he realizes. He says at some point that he has low cunning, and I thought, I think you've made a mistake. Wrong again, Bob Lannister.
Interesting.
Okay.
But you know, Tyrion never ever sort of blows his own horn. Like, you know, there's a moment when he could have said, "You don't understand what I did when I was Hand of the King. I made this whole town run." Like he lets the people who think less of him continue to think less of him before he sort of makes that big, you know, we hope that there'll be some sort of, before he makes some big successful play. There was also that great scene with his sister where she said, you know, you're not half as clever as you think you are. And he said, well, that still makes me more clever than you.
Yeah. Right. Game of Thrones always has the one-liners. That's what's great. So you mentioned the relationships you want to see, and also how Daenerys has the emotion. What I liked, and it plays into both of those, is Marjorie Tyrell's scene, which is not in the books, where she goes into the city and like gives food and toys to the children. But then also they follow that up with the dinner scene, one of the most tense, awkward family dinners ever.
Oh, I love
and the
that
tension
scene.
between her and Cersei, and then Cersei and Joffrey is awesome. And I can't wait to see what happens with those two women.
I think at some point, this is my prediction, Joffrey's going to turn on his mother, and then shit's about to get real.
I think Cersei is going to eventually, because of, you know, Cersei is obviously incredibly dedicated to her family. She's as dedicated to her family as a woman can be.
That's true.
And I think that she will see that actually the person who she needs to be aligned with is perhaps the brother who's right in front of her. I sense that that's coming, in part because because Tyrion will also see, like, I got no interest in this woman coming in, this lady, whatever her name is, coming in and sort of making Joffrey, the great strength, the great thing that they have over Joffrey is that we know he, left to his own devices, he'll fuck it up, right? But this woman looks like she can help him enormously, and that poses a danger. I love the sort of, there's just, how many unapproved romances are there? How many are danger romance? And what does that tell us about sort of the people who we choose in general? But we have Robb Stark and his girl, which is me, and he's thwarting the arranged marriage, which let them pass through the Khyber Pass, or whatever the fuck it is you guys call it.
Jon Snow and the Wildling girl.
Jon Snow and the Wildling girl.
Stannis and the Red Lady.
Stannis and the Red Lady. Tyrion and his hooker. And his Turkish hooker, right. And to some extent, even you could count Joffrey and, you know, spurning Sansa and taking up with this.
That was more political.
More political, but yeah, that's true. They're not into each other at all.
And nobody's in a happy relationship, really.
And we know of only one arranged marriage that actually turned into love, and that was the Starks.
Yeah. I like that Cersei, up until recently, had been the one in power. Now her father's there, and you see her, she's starting to worry about Marjorie Tyrell. I like that she's starting to feel a little bit old, a little bit cast off. And you know that she's pretty crazy, so I like speculating about what she might end up doing. But
I like you speculating when you've already read all the books.
But the cool thing is that they are changing things, so I don't know if they might add, lots of scenes are new.
But I don't know whether they'd mention it, but what's Daenerys' helper's name?
Jorah Mormont.
Jorah Mormont, right? The guy who talks whatever.
He's not a Mormon.
The guy, right? the guy who, you know, everything he says is like this, Khaleesi. Right, right, but he's so badass. He's in Upstairs, Downstairs, Downton Abbey. But his dad is the head of the Night Watch.
That's right, yeah.
But I didn't know that. Did you know that from reading or from?
Yeah, because I read the first book.
Right.
Right, and that's where I found out. I was like, oh, that's trippy.
Did you know that?
I like it.
No,
because they look exactly alike. They have the exact same kind of beard. I mean, he just looks like, I don't mean they look identical, but I mean, that's what that guy's father would look like. And they're both sort of, even though they're estranged, they both have this sort of, like, they've dedicated themselves to a cause. They will sacrifice their life for this cause. They're both sort of these principled men of honor. And I love the fact that they're father and son now.
Oh, by the way, and what is he? He's an outcast. And that's why one of the great characters. And even though I read the book, and even though I know his dad is the head of the Night Watchman, when Barristan Selmy showed up, I was like, right, that's his dad, right? I was like, oh no, right.
Although oddly enough, that guy, Barristan Selmy, also an outcast now.
Interesting.